Hi, welcome back to Christine's Cottage. I would like to share with you two stories from 1945. My mom would share her books with us when we were kids. She told us to be careful and take care of books. This is proof of how her words ring true. Well, you will see. Let's begin with our first story, Smoky, the Little Kitten Who Didn't Want to. By Nancy Raymond, pictures by Dirk, copyright 1945 by Fideler Company. Hope I said that right. Okay. Let's begin. Once upon a time, there were 3 little kittens. They lived with their mother and father in a big red barn. 2 of the kittens were striped like Mother Cat, but the 3rd little kitten was coal black, just like Father Cat. His name was Smoky. One fall morning, when the leaves were turning red, Mother said, "My kittens, it is time for you to learn to climb." Mother took her 3 little kittens to the old oak tree. "My kittens," said Mother, "sharpen your claws like this." Two little kittens sharpened their claws and climbed right up the old oak tree. But Smoky didn't climb because he didn't want to. So Mother held Smoky firmly and shook him sharply. Then she taught him to climb up and down the old oak tree. When it was time to eat, 2 little kittens put their noses in the bowl of fresh cow's milk. But Smoky didn't drink any milk because he didn't want to. Usually Mother coaxed her little Smoky to drink his milk, but this time Mother didn't coax Smoky, not even once. Said Mother, "My little Smoky, you may do just as you wish all day." Smoky was very, very happy at not having to eat, that he set out at once to see Frisky, the gray lamb. Said he to Frisky, who was eating the juicy leaves of clover, "I don't have to eat today. I may do just as I wish all day." But Frisky only said, "Bah, I'm very hungry." Then Smoky went to see Stuffy the pig. "Meow," he said, I don't have to eat today." But all that Stuffy said was, "Oink, oink, my corn is good." So on he went to see Bossy the cow. "Meow," said Smoky, "I do not have to eat today." "Moo," said Bossy, "this tender grass is very sweet." Smoky went on to see the chickens. As he looked around the chicken yard, he saw that all the little chickens were busy eating grains of wheat. Then he went along to see Prince, the big collie dog. He tried to take just one little taste of the milk in Prince's bowl, but Prince growled and frightened Smoky stiff. Finally, Smoky was so very, very hungry that he just had to start home. When Smoky passed the chicks, they still were eating wheat, but he couldn't eat wheat. The cows were still eating tender grass, but Smoky couldn't eat grass. Stuffy still was eating corn, but Smoky couldn't eat corn. Frisky was still eating juicy leaves of clover, but Smoky couldn't eat clover. When at last Smoky reached home, it was dinner time, and Mother had a big bowl of warm milk waiting for her hungry little kitten. When Smoky finished drinking the last drop of milk, he went to sleep in the soft hay. Next morning, Smoky was the first one of the 3 little kittens to jump out of bed. Smoky was the first to put his nose in a bowl of warm milk. Never again did he want to go without eating. At last, said Mother, my little Smoky is no longer a kitten who doesn't want to. The end. I hope you enjoyed Smoky, the kitten who didn't want to. Our next story up is Miss Sniff, the Fuzzy Cat by Jane Curry. Illustrations by Florence Sarah Winship. Copyright 1945, Whitman Publishing Company. And it's an older book, and it has the fuzzy stuff on the cat on the front. Still has the fuzziness on it after all these years. A Fuzzy Wuzzy Book, a trademark. Miss Sniff. Miss Sniff. Have you ever heard of Polly Pinks and her big black fuzzy cat? Well, it's really a very funny story because Miss Sniff was a very funny cat. In the first place, Polly's real name wasn't Polly Pinks, but she had a little room with pink roses on the wall, a pink bedspread, and curtains with pink ruffles. Polly loved pink dresses and pink hair bows, so people called her Polly Pinks. Polly Pinks had dolls and toys and games and teddy bears, but she didn't have a real-life pet. But she wished she could have a kitten to snuggle up in her little pink room. Her Aunt Cordelia said maybe she might get a little kitten for her birthday, but Polly Pink's birthday came and there were many birthday packages but no kitten. Polly Pinks wished and wished and wished. On Easter, when Polly Pinks went downstairs for breakfast, she found a great big beautiful Easter box with her name on it. She of course expected to find an Easter bonnet or Easter bunny or Easter eggs, but no. When she untied the big pink bow and took off the cover, there wasn't an Easter bonnet, there wasn't an Easter bunny, there was no Easter eggs. Can you guess? Snuggled up In the big beautiful box was a black fuzzy real kitten. When the black fuzzy kitten opened her green eyes and saw Polly Pinks, she jumped out of the box and began sniffing around. "That is a smart cat," said Aunt Cordelia, "but she's going to be a mischief." "Miss Sniff," said Polly Pinks, who was just a little girl and couldn't say a big word like mischief. From that day on, the little black fuzzy kitten was called Miss Sniff. She still has her fuzzy black on her. She's so cute. Miss Sniff wasn't a little kitten very long. She grew up to be a big, handsome, black, fuzzy cat, and she was a very proud cat, too. Every morning, when Polly Pinks was at school, Miss Sniff would sit in front of the big mirror in the parlor and admire herself. Some cats do smile, and Miss Sniff was always so pleased with herself that she could smile, and then meow to herself and say, "I am sure I am the fuzziest and the handsomest cat in the neighborhood." Besides being a very handsome cat and a very proud cat, Miss Sniff was a really unusual cat. She didn't like to go outdoors and climb trees and run around like most cats do. In fact, she didn't even like to hunt around the basement for mice. Almost every day, the cats in the neighborhood would gather outside Polly Pink's house and meow for Miss Sniff to come out. But even though Miss Sniff sometimes wanted to, she didn't. You see, she was very proud of her handsome black fuzzy coat and was sure she wasn't just an ordinary cat like Angus the big Angora or Minnie the scraggly Maltese who belonged to Billy Blake, or Smoky the mouse-looking gray cat who some people said had no home at all, and to Miss Sniff wasn't quite sure that she could climb the trees and telephone poles and fences as well as the other cats. So Miss Sniff would hide behind the fluffy white curtains in the parlor and peek out at the other cats. Polly Pink's mother would say, "I am sure Miss Sniff is a house cat." "House cat nonsense," Daddy would say and laugh. "I think Miss Sniff is a fraidy cat." Aunt Cordelia would always say, "I know that cat will be mischief." One morning, when Miss Sniff was in the parlor admiring herself in the big mirror, the door opened and in bounced Billy Blake's big, black, woolly dog. Poor Miss Sniff. What could she do? She jumped up on the back of the big easy chair, but she wouldn't be safe there very long. Dogs don't jump as fast as cats, so by the time the woolly dog decided to jump up on the chair, Miss Sniff had leaped right over to the fluffy white curtains and was up at the top before you could say scat. When poor Miss Sniff discovered she was practically hanging from the ceiling, she was quite frightened. After a little while, she found she could hang on very well. And even after Billy called his big dog out of the parlor, Miss Sniff didn't come down. It's a big dog. Aunt Cordelia was very angry when she was told that Miss Sniff had run up the best fluffy white curtains. She decided something would have to be done. "That cat is mischief," she said. "We can't have her ripping up the best curtains with her sharp claws. She will have to be kept out of the parlor. Polly Pinks was very sad, because she knew Miss Sniff liked to admire herself in the big parlor mirror. We'll make a new quilt for Miss Sniff's bed. And a pillow, too, said Aunt Cordelia. Maybe that will make her happy. Aunt Cordelia and Polly Pinks sewed away and made a pink quilt and a soft pink pillow for Miss Sniff's bed. Miss Sniff was proud of getting away from the big woolly dog, and she liked to lay on the pink quilt and the soft pillow and closed her eyes and dreamed of the brave things she might do. She dreamed of pink mice floating around in pink clouds and pink trees, that she could run right up faster than any other cats. Let me try that again. She could run right up faster than any of the other cats. Miss Sniff's dreams were so beautiful that when she woke up and yawned and stretched, she jumped up on Polly Pink's dressing table to admire herself in the mirror. Tomorrow, she purred, I shall go out into the world and find pink mice and climb pink trees and live like the other cats. The next day, painters came to paint Polly Pink's house. Polly had wanted it painted pink, but her daddy said no. It was to be yellow. She watched the men put up their ladders and ropes and take up their big paint buckets and brushes. Billy Blake came over to watch, too. It was fun. One of the painters, who was up very high, called down to Polly Pinks and said, Little girl, there are 2 big black cats racing over the roof. 2? Said Polly Pinks. We only have Miss Sniff. Oh, dear. Sure enough, just then Polly Pinks saw 2 big black cats perched on the corner of the roof. Miss Sniff, kitty, 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 she called. But Miss Sniff didn't even look at Polly Pinks. Surely Miss Sniff would fall. Aunt Cordelia, Polly called. Please help, Miss Sniff. But before Aunt Cordelia could get out of the house, Miss Sniff jumped, and the other black cat jumped, and as soon as a big black ball of fur came bounding through the air, and then, what happened? Uh-oh, what happened? Turn the page, we'll see. Splash, plop, into the painter's bucket. Into the painter's great big bucket of yellow paint it fell. Aunt Cordelia rolled up her sleeves and pulled out the most bedraggled mass of fur you have ever seen. Poor Miss Sniff, said Polly Pinks. Will she be all right? That cat's a mischief, said Aunt Cordelia. But if I can ever get this yellow paint off, she will recover. Aunt Cordelia worked for hours trying to remove the sticky yellow paint. She washed and she scrubbed and she scrubbed and she washed, and the poor cat looked pretty sick. It was Polly's bedtime, and still Aunt Cordelia was still trying to take yellow paint off the fuzzy cat. She'll be all right in the morning, said Aunt Cordelia. Polly Pinks kissed her aunt good night and said, Good night, Miss Sniff. Be a good kitty cat. In the morning, Aunt Cordelia said, Here is that mischief of yours. Poor Polly Pinks couldn't believe her eyes. That fuzzy black cat was not Miss Sniff. Her father laughed when she told him that. He said, Maybe it's Mr. Sniff. But Polly Pinks was very sad. Mr. Sniff looked like Miss Sniff, but he didn't smile as only Miss Sniff could smile, or carry his head proudly, or sit in front of the mirror. What shall we do? Asked Mother. We have to find Miss Sniff. But weeks passed and there was no sign of Miss Sniff. Polly Pinks grew sadder and sadder. Even Mr. Sniff looked sad. He didn't even seem like his new home. One morning, an old man came to the door and said that Mr. Sniff lived at his house and belonged to his little granddaughter. So he picked up Mr. Sniff, who really seemed very happy to see the old man, and said he was going to take him home. When he left, he whispered something in Aunt Cordelia's ear. Polly Pinks asked Aunt Cordelia what the man had whispered, and she said, "Oh, that's a secret." Polly Pinks wondered about Aunt Cordelia's secret. She knew, though, the secrets usually mean a nice surprise. She was starting off for school one day when Aunt Cordelia called, "Polly Pinks, when you come home from school, you will know the secret." That afternoon, Polly Pinks hurried home from school as fast as she could, and when she got into the house, Aunt Cordelia said, "Our little secret is on the sun porch." "On the sun porch?" said Polly Pinks. "Why, what can it be? Can you guess?" There in the corner of the sun porch sat Miss Sniff, looking as proud as you please. And what do you think? In the little bed under the pink quilt were 3 black fuzzy baby kittens. "Oh, Miss Sniff," said Polly Pinks as she looked at the 3 little black fuzzy heads. "What a wonderful surprise!" Miss Sniff didn't say a word. She just smiled as only Miss Sniff could smile, and you'd be sure she knew that she was the handsomest and proudest and the most unusual cat in the neighborhood. The end. I hope you enjoyed the story. Sorry I had a little hiccups in the story, but I started over and we tried it again, and it all came out just fine. So I hope you enjoyed the story about Miss Sniff and her little adventure. And thanks for listening and watching the video. I hope everyone has a great day. And until next time.